Audio made possible by www.jackettome.com. Audio Fanfiction Productions presents Wide Awake. Fanfiction written by Angscata003. Fanfiction inspired by the Twilight Saga written by Stephanie Meyer. Chapter 9. Shockolate Ship.
Edward's point of view. I was so fucking warm. I was hugging warm. Warm was hugging me, definitely warm. I took a long, deep breath. Something smelled really good. Familiar. I moved closer to the worm and nuzzled something soft and silky. The worm smelled really fucking good. Like cookies and flowers. And the worm made the softest little snoring sound. I gasped, and moved as quickly as I could away from the worm until I was falling, and hitting my head against the floor with a very loud thud. I opened one eye, squinting against a very offensive bright light, and looked up at my ceiling. Worm. I scrambled up onto my knees, and came face to face with a very wide-eyed Bella. Her hair looked like a haystack, and she was wearing that same hoodie. In my bed. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. I croaked. My brain filter wasn't working yet. There was Bella sitting up in my bed, mouth forming a surprised O, and looking a lot like a little kid that just caught sneaking a peek at the Christmas present stash. What the fuck is she doing in my bed? What the fuck are you doing in my bed? I croaked again. That goddamn brain filter, still am I? Her face grew bright red, and then her eyes brimmed with tears. She was blinking against them, but I was frozen. Utterly fucking confused and lost as to how Bella got into my bed. Without warning, Bella shot up out of the bed, and began scrambling her way to the balcony door. What the fuck is she doing? What the fuck are you doing? I croaked, wishing that brain filter would kick in, but she was already out the door. I ran my fingers through my hair, and tried to make sense of what the fuck was going on. But my body was stiff. Fucking hardcore stiff. And for some reason, I was also a little damp. So I dragged my stiff, damp body off the floor, and walked into my bathroom. Deciding showers were really very warm. I shed off my wrinkled, damp clothes, and stepped into the steaming hot shower. Warm? Right. What was that? I began searching my mind, trying to remember any significant event. I remember turkey at the Brandons. It was fucking good as hell too. But I was tired. Too tired to make it. So I came home. Then I tried sketching for a few hours, but it was too much, so I set my alarm. The shampoo bottle I was holding hit the bottom of the shower with a resounding clank. I shut the water off and got out, moving to the bathroom door, and opening it a crack, so I could read my alarm clock. 11:22 a.m. I slowly closed the door, and then jerked it back open, just to double check. Yep. I slept for 15 hours. No, I slept with Bella for 15 hours. What the fuck happened? But I felt good. Awake. Alert. Not tired. I spun around to my mirror. My eyes were still dark, but not nearly as much as they usually are. Hut. Hut. Apparently long amounts of sleep affect brain filters. Who knew? I smiled at myself in the mirror. Then my smile completely fell. I touched Bella. What the fuck was I thinking? She seemed fine though. In fact, I vaguely recall the worm hugging me back. But how is that even possible? I ran my fingers through my hair again, and started getting dressed. I was so fucking refreshed, it was amazing. It was a feeling I haven't had in so long, I wasn't even sure it actually existed. And I was thankful for the ability to utilize my full brain capacity for once, because I was going to need it. School was out again today for the holiday. So I spent my afternoon thinking very hard, and came up with a few facts. The first was, something about last night was different that allowed me to sleep. The second was, Bella let me touch her, and she didn't have any weird random emotional breakdowns. The third was, I had no idea how to explain any of it. And the fourth was, that the only person who could left this morning upset with me. So, basically, the only thing I could do was hope my girl would still come tonight. I went down to the kitchen to pilfer some of the leftovers the guys brought home with them last night. Carlisle walked into the kitchen while I was heating up the coveted poultry, and gave me a big smile. "Edward," he exclaimed, clapping me on the back. "You look like you're feeling better today." He smiled while joining in the pilfering activities. I smirked at him and shrugged one shoulder. "Goddamn right I'm feeling better," I thought smugly. I slept 15 hours. Even with all the unanswered questions looming over my head, I was in a pretty fucking good mood. So I hopped onto the countertop and chatted with Daddy C, while we both praised Bella's stellar cooking skills with moans and hums. I was in such a good mood, I didn't even bitch at him when he walked in and joined us. I felt like I was living someone else's life. I could actually concentrate on every little thing. It was divine. The whole day was spent like that. Just me being in a good fucking mood. But by the time 10 rolled around, I was already tired again. I mean, I did have 9 years to make up for. It was a tired I could fight off easily. But at the same time, I knew there was a possibility I didn't have to. So I paced my room anxiously waiting for Bella when midnight was approaching. I figured I was going to have to pull out my secret weapon when the time came. I probably acted like a total dick. Once I was tired of pacing, I decided to wait out on the balcony for her. It was an unusually clear night out, the full moon illuminating the backyard and the gazebo. I could see the Brandon house from my balcony. All of the windows were dark except for one. The kitchen. I waited out there in the cold until 12:30. She wasn't coming. I figured I could wait until school tomorrow and risk speaking to her in bio or something. But that was too late for me. I'd be damned if I was going to wait for her to come around. Bella's only been doing this a year to me 9. I had to see her now. So I went back inside my room and grabbed my leather jacket. I was going to have to be super fucking stealthy about this. It was risky. I climbed down the lattice more efficiently than ever and crept over to the Brandon house. I stayed half-crouched until I reached the kitchen window. Slowly, I raised my head up and peeked, and Bella was sitting at the table in the center of the room doing what appeared to be homework of some sort. I raised my hand to the glass and lightly tapped with 2 knuckles. Bella shot up out of her chair, bringing her hand up to her mouth, and spun around to face me. She looked absolutely terrified. Then I realized my mistake. Real fucking genius. I stood up straight with a grimace and held my hands up in the air. Once she realized it was just me, she lowered her hand to her heart and took a moment to steady her breathing. "So much for utilizing your full brain capacity, dipshit." She left the kitchen for a moment, only to return with her hoodie, which she threw on the way out the back door. She looked better too. Not in a good mood sort of way, like I was all day, but her eyes looked so much fucking better.
"Hi,"
she whispered timidly, looking down at her boots. When she looked up again, I pointed to the gazebo and tilted my head towards it, indicating for her to follow me. She did. We walked silently across the yard and took our seats on either side of the bench. It was like our middle ground, or some shit. Neutral territory.